By 1976, Suarez had built his first industrial cocaine laboratory in the Beni jungle, then a second, then 5 more, then 20. He recruited peasant farmers by the thousands, paying them 10 times what they'd earn on legal crops. He recruited chemists from Colombia and Argentina. He built airstrips, dozens of them hacked out of the jungle. He bought a fleet of small planes, then bigger planes. Then he formed a corporation. He called it La Corporación, the corporation, and it functioned like an actual cartel in the economic sense of the word. Suarez organized every major Bolivian cocaine producer into a single, unified structure that controlled prices, coordinated shipments, and negotiated with the Colombians as one entity. By 1980, Roberto Suarez was supplying somewhere between 60 and 80% of all the coca paste flowing into Colombia. Every gram of cocaine Pablo Escobar sold on the streets of Miami, every ounce the Ochoa brothers moved through Panama, every kilo the Cali cartel shipped to Europe. Most of it started as Bolivian coca, refined in a Roberto Suarez laboratory. He was the man behind the men, and almost no one in America had ever heard his name. The money was staturomical. At his peak, Suarez was earning an estimated $400 million a year. Some estimates go as high as $600 million. He kept the cash in Swiss banks, in Panama, in Miami real estate, in Argentine cattle ranches. He bought art. He bought hotels. He bought judges. He bought generals. And in 1980, he made his most dangerous investment yet. He bought a government. Here's where it gets interesting. In July of 1980, a Bolivian general named Luis Garcia Meza staged a coup. He overthrew the democratically elected government of Lydia Guilar Tejada. It was one of the bloodiest coups in South American history. Union leaders were tortured to death. Journalists were disappeared. Dissidents were thrown out of helicopters. And the money that financed the whole operation, the guns, the mercenaries, the bribes, the propaganda, came from Roberto Suarez Gomez. It's now known as the cocaine coup. Suarez didn't just fund it. He helped design it. He hired a former Nazi war criminal named Klaus Barbie, the butcher of Lyon, who had been hiding in Bolivia for decades under the alias Klaus Altman. Barbie helped organize a paramilitary squad called the Fiancés of Death, neo-Nazi mercenaries, Italian fascists, Argentine death squad veterans. They killed for Suarez. They protected his laboratories. And they helped install Garcia Meza as dictator. For 13 months, Bolivia was a narco-state in the fullest sense of the term. The Minister of the Interior, Colonel Luis Arce Gomez, was Suarez's cousin. Every cocaine shipment leaving the country had government protection. Every rival trafficker was arrested by state police and their product confiscated, then quietly sold by Suarez himself. It was the perfect operation. The state was the cartel. The cartel was the state. And Roberto Suarez lived like a king. He had a mansion in Santa Cruz filled with European antiques. He had ranches spanning millions of acres. He had a private zoo with jaguars and monkeys. His guests included European aristocrats, South American oligarchs, and the occasional CIA operative who wanted to talk about anti-communism. He rode horses. He collected rare orchids. He hosted lavish dinners where he served French wine and Bolivian beef and talked about literature. And when he flew in his own Learjet with a private pilot who called him El Patron. But that's not the crazy part. In 1983, with the Garcia Meza regime finally collapsed and a new civilian government in La Paz, Roberto Suarez did something no drug lord had ever done. He sent a formal letter to the president of Bolivia, Hernan Siles Zuazo. In it, he offered to pay off Bolivia's entire foreign debt, $3 billion, in cash. In exchange for one thing, amnesty. He wanted to be legalized. He wanted his crimes forgiven. He wanted to walk into a bank in La Paz, wire $3 billion from his Swiss accounts, and be recognized not as a criminal, but as a national benefactor. He argued publicly that his cocaine money was the only thing keeping the Bolivian economy alive, that he was more legitimate than the politicians who took his bribes. that he was the true father of the country. The government refused, publicly, loudly. But behind closed doors they were terrified, because Suarez was mostly right. His money was propping up entire provinces. His employment network reached hundreds of thousands of peasant families. If he called in his debts, if he ordered his laboratories to shut down for a single week, Bolivia would collapse. Which brings us to the man who became the beginning of the end,